Part 9. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 81. Li Yuan was watching from the side as Anna Shen pretended to be pitiful. It can be said that Anna Shen vividly demonstrated her vanity, hypocrisy, arrogance. She would hit those who were inferior to her with heavy punches. It was obviously Gu Dongsheng who caused the trouble, but she insisted on making her think that she was trying to force Li Yuan to take the blame. Li Yuan felt that the subsequent series of events were inseparable from her blind confidence. Xu Yanlin had quietly run behind Li Yuan. She was a little scared of this battle. Ho Wenbin glanced at Li Yuan, walked over helplessly and said, "Brother, you are here to play, can you give me some face? Don't you give me face by yourself? If you expect others to give you face, when will you be able to eat 3 dishes?" Li Yuan also roughly guessed the identity of the other party because he heard something about the car before. In addition to driving Lu Hao's car, I also drove the one sent by Ho Zhenqiu. So, the person in front of me is probably Ho Zhenqiu's eldest grandson? Ho Wenbin was instantly embarrassed on the spot. Li Yuan was right, but he couldn't think that he was right. If it was in private, he wouldn't care, but there were so many people today. Brother, that's true, but it also depends on the occasion. When we go out to play together, we naturally have to stand on our own side. If our own people are bullied, if we don't help, who will follow us in the future? Be friends. Li Yuan said, "What you call different occasions refers to your own occasions, not mine. I was fishing here, and someone came over and wanted to call my girlfriend away. I didn't agree, so I started to make sarcastic remarks. From my standpoint, nothing I do is too much. If you are able to ask me to accommodate your rules, then I have nothing to say. If not, I will act in accordance with my standpoint." Ho Wenbin took a deep breath. He knew he was going to have a hard time today. He would definitely not believe everything Anna Shen said. After all, adding fuel and jealousy is something everyone would do with personal information. If you believe what others say when you are in a circle, you will be sold out sooner or later and you are still counting money for others. He glanced at Yu Chengguang. He came here today to give Yu Chengguang face, but he didn't expect Anna Shen's circle to be so bad. Don't you treat people as human beings anymore? Instinct made him believe what Li Yuan said more. After all, Anna Shen was born with arrogance. He didn't want to get involved in this matter, so he wanted Yu Chengguang to solve it by himself. Yu Chengguang glanced at the girl next to him and gave her a look. This is his girlfriend Chenji. Chenji is from Anna Shen's circle and has a better relationship with Anna Shen. Now is the most appropriate time for her to come forward. On the one hand, Ho Wenbin will not lose face, and on the other hand, Anna Shen's face can be saved. Both must be done, which is the meaning of being in a circle. Otherwise, if they each safeguard their own interests when something happens, the circle will collapse long ago. Chenji understood, stepped forward and said, "Maybe there is some misunderstanding. Don't make yourself unhappy because of trivial matters when you go out to play." After she finished speaking, she walked up to Li Yuan and said, "My name is Chenji, and your name is Li Yuan, right? I've heard your name before. Can you recognize me?" As she spoke, she stretched out her hand. Chenji is good looking, with an intellectual temperament all over her body, and she seems to be about 23 or 4 years old. Li Yuan stretched out his hand, shook it lightly, and the two of them separated. Then Li Yuan said, "As long as Miss Shen says it's a misunderstanding, I can stop her from apologizing." Anna Shen was so panicked for the first time. She thought she could use her own power to make Li Yuan lose face, but was stopped by Li Yuan in just a few words. Then, things fell on her instead. Chenji said, "Nana is still young. Let me apologize to Mr. Li on her behalf. I misunderstood Mr. Li. Why don't we have dinner together later?" Let's make friends in the future. Forget it about eating. I ordered a lunch box here. Then give it a try next time. This is my business card. Chen Ji handed over his business card, and Li Yuan took it. He always thought that Anna Shen was sick. Now it seems that she is really sick. Obviously the people around me are pretty normal. Only at this moment did Yu Guang say, okay, everyone, hurry back and the dishes will be served later. I spent a lot of effort to get this table of dishes. There will be other items waiting for me later, still waiting. Under the leadership of Yu Guang, everyone turned around and walked back. Chen Ji pulled Anna Shen, even though Anna Shen was a little reluctant. Because she wants Li Yuan to delete the video. Unknowingly, Ho Wenbin fell behind after following Yu Guang. Yu Guang said, Wenbin, it's not like your character today. Why did you give up halfway? Ho Wenbin said with a smile, it's not that I'm scared, but because of Anna Shen, it's not worth it. If it were you, no matter which party is at fault, I will definitely rush forward without hesitation. Haha, this brother is not in vain. But I still want to remind you, you should be cautious when it comes to love. Ho Wenbin didn't mention Chen Ji by name, but that's what he meant. Yu Guang said, Chen Ji is different from them, and, it's not a simple relationship. I understand, then I won't say anything. But I seem to have seen Qin Chu just now. Ahem, you're wrong, here are all fishermen. Ho Wenbin smiled. He sighed, no wonder you want to build a fish farm when you have nothing to do. It's a pity that my dad has to do business, otherwise I can stay in Zhangzhou. I still envy you. You will inherit billions of assets in the future. My miserable life is like walking on thin ice every day, and I don't know when it will end. It's actually very simple that Anna Shen's circle can't squeeze into Ho Wenbin's circle. The difference between politics and business. Although Ho Wenbin's parents have gone into business, the old man and his uncles at home are still there. It's billions of dollars, and it's almost enough to be listed on the market. Recently, I can't find any big funds to cooperate. The money in the hands of capital is too tight. What does listing have to do with other funds? There must be funds willing to enter the market to support the stock price, otherwise the stock price will break on the day of listing, and there will be no opportunity to reduce holdings in the future. When Xu Yanlin saw people leaving, she walked up to Li Yuan and said with a smile, Senior is so awesome. What's the matter? I was waiting for them to take action. After all, I am also a descendant of the third generation of ancient martial arts. Is there really an ancient martial arts? Xu Yanlin's eyes lit up. Of course there is, but everyone is busy practicing on weekdays and never has the chance to show it outside. Which faction does the senior belong to? Kunlun. Well, almost, you're already half right. Then can I learn it? I really yearn for ancient martial arts, but I don't know if I have the talent. Xu Yanlin really believed it? Here, let me check your qualifications when I take the time. I believe your qualifications should be very good. Xu Yanlin grabbed Li Yuan's hand and said with joy, then let's check it out later, okay. Hee. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 82. Oh, what a pity, I didn't catch the 100,000 target fish. Lu Hao sighed while eating his lunch. Just when it was over, someone caught 100,000 standard fish. Li Yuan asked in confusion, what's the point? Catching the target fish is just luck and has nothing to do with strength. Lu Hao glanced around and suddenly whispered, Brother Yuan, I think the 100,000 target fish was put in last. Can this happen? Really, because the weather is getting hotter and hotter, all the fish inside have closed their mouths, but the target fish still opened their mouths. The most important thing is that the guy who caught the target fish looked like a novice at first glance, and he didn't know how to fish at all. Li Yuan looked towards the place where he had just caught the marked fish. Because of the hot weather, most of the fishermen were wearing sun hats and face towels, and their appearance was almost invisible. If it's played from behind and there are so many people watching, how do you operate it? Li Yuan asked. Lu Hao couldn't answer either. Although he only focused on his own illusions, if he wanted to release the fish at the last moment, there would definitely be a lot of noise. I don't know, maybe some special means were used. Then you saw it with your own eyes when the fish was finally caught. No, I was just catching fish at that time. The fish didn't open their mouths and they were just thinking about one or two fish on the anchor. Who has time to look at others? They are still so far away from me. Well, that's enough. Today's harvest is already quite big. With the standard fish, we can make a small profit of 3,000 yuan. Hearing this, Lu Hao laughed and said, "Hey, I'm really lucky today. There are not many fish here. The main reason is that other fishermen are too bad. At most, only 3 or 5 are enough. Then pray for more luck like this in the future." Li Yuan continued to eat. He discovered something was wrong with this fishing ground. It cost 2,000 yuan, hundreds of people participated, and there were so many novices. It's understandable that there are 3 or 5 novices who don't have a clear understanding of their own strength. After thinking about it for a long time, I suddenly realized that this matter had nothing to do with him. Take the money and leave. When Yu Chenguang made the final settlement, he did not cheat. He also gave the money for marking the fish and the money for returning the fish. Even the weight of the marked fish was taken into account and an extra 20 yuan was given. Back at the gate of the university, when Xu Yanlin was about to get off the car, she suddenly said, "Senior, I want to ask you something. Please delete the video of my cousin." "Okay, don't worry. He didn't record it at all. After all, the camera has always been facing Lu Hao. He has not bought a professional camera yet. He just subconsciously adjusted the position of the camera to scare Anna Shen. Then senior, remember to teach me martial arts when you have time." "No problem. Go back and make up a few moves. If Xu Yanlin can practice, then he will become Xu Yanlin's teacher. Maybe there will be a chance to become a master and a disciple in the future. But just thinking about it, falling in love with Xu Yanlin is quite fun, because Xu Yanlin will believe whatever she says. It feels a bit like a young couple. But after all, she was still too young, and the novelty was still there, so she only had beautiful fantasies about herself in her heart. In fact, there are no such people in the world. After a deep dissection, every one of them is a rotten person." After returning, Zhou Ranran was already at home. She took the exam for Subject 1 today, and will be able to take the exam for Subject 2 in 10 days. "Sister Ran, have you passed your subjects today?" Li Yuan came in and asked. Zhou Ranran didn't talk to Li Yuan much these days. But it's time to break the ice. Before Lu Hao came up, Li Yuan immediately leaned into Zhou Ranran's ear and said, "How about rewarding me tonight?" "Roll." "Oh, then I'll take the mouse to wash his feet." It's time for Lu Hao to relax. The previous plan has not been completed yet. This guy still blushes when he sees a girl, but if a girl says a few words to him, he will become happy. Then please send me today's video. I'll help you edit it when I'm at home. Okay. In fact, there were many scenes of Xu Yanlin in the videos yesterday and the day before yesterday. Zhou Ranran was responsible for most of the editing and knew it better than anyone else. Li Yuan started to transfer the files to the computer. Suddenly he remembered something and asked, "Sister Ran, did Wen Yuxian sign the contract?" "Not yet, I said I'll think about it for 2 days and I'll give you the result on Saturday." "That's okay." Li Yuan estimated that Wen Yuxian had hired a professional to review the contract to see if there were any traps in it. Apart from the 5-year contract period and liquidated damages, there are no other restrictions at all, except that the money received is not much. Since she wants her testicles so much, she should ask for less money, right? About 20 minutes later, the video was uploaded, and Lu Hao also went to change his clothes. "Let's go out with me." Lu Hao was just about to lie down and play with his mobile phone. "You'll know when you get out." Then, Li Yuan took him to the water cube to take a bath. While taking a bath, Lu Hao asked, "Brother Yuan, doesn't Sister Ran know?" He still felt a little guilty about coming to the bathing center. "Don't worry, she won't let her know. You can go directly to the 3rd floor later. Didn't you ask for 998 last time? I'll arrange it for you today." "Ah, this, how about forgetting it?" "Forget it, go quickly." "How about you?" "I don't have enough time, so I can't compare with you. I'll go in later, so as not to make you wait for me later." In fact, Li Yuanzhen didn't know what the 998 project was, he just saw that they had this project. Anyway, it's definitely more exciting than those 399 and 498. He would rather Lu Hao become a bathing emperor. After seeing Lu Hao go upstairs, he sneaked out and drove directly home. Zhou Ranran was still editing the video, and suddenly she saw Li Yuan walking in wearing clothes from the bathing center, and the slippers under his feet were all from the bathing center. "Forgot something?" Zhou Ranran asked. Li Yuan directly moved a chair and sat next to Zhou Ranran, looked at her face and said, "Well, I forgot about you." "What do you mean?" "I'm not going." "I knew you weren't going, so I came." Sister Ran, it's like this. The doctor said that I have a disease. If I don't treat it, it will be too late." "Why didn't I see it?" Zhou Ranran subconsciously felt that Li Yuan was talking nonsense. "It's mental, not physical. Real or fake?" "What is the disease called?" "Half hyperactive psychopath." "What? Why haven't I heard of it?" While talking, Zhou Ranran went to search. Hyperactive psychosis does exist. But while she was searching, Li Yuan had already arrived behind him. "Why is it called half hyperactive psychosis?" "Because I only got half of it. If I don't get treatment quickly, I will get the whole thing." "You can still get half of the disease? How come I haven't heard of it?" "Ang, there are still many things you haven't heard of. I'll tell you slowly in the future. I feel like I'm going to get sick now." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 83. Brother Yuan, where have you gone? Lu Hao had been waiting for half an hour, but he still didn't see Li Yuan. "Didn't I tell you? I'm faster. Then when you get impatient, I'll go out for a ride. Wait for another hour for me to go over and pay." "Oh, but Brother Yuan, do you want to go to the hospital?" "I know, hang up first." Friday came as expected. Li Yuan still followed Lu Hao to shoot the video, but there was no Xu Yanlin today. If Xu Yanlin didn't take the initiative to say that she wanted to go, Li Yuan wouldn't take her with her. After all, coaxing a girl would be too hard on the brain cells. After the two had lunch, they went out under the bright sun. On the way, Lu Hao asked, "Brother Yuan, is Sister Ran's aunt here today? Why is her temper so bad?" "I guess so." During lunch, Zhou Ranran's eyes were so fierce that she wanted to kill someone. This didn't happen before. In fact, Li Yuan didn't feel that he was irritable at all, because there were signs of being even more irritable on his body. They bit their shoulders so much that they bled. "What about your girlfriend? Why didn't she come today?" Maybe there is something going on at home. The college entrance examination results are coming out recently, so I have a lot to do. Li Yuan didn't know why Xu Yanlin didn't send a message. Even if you don't come, I will definitely send you a message or two today to say hello. There is a high probability that her family won't let her out. With Anna Shen's character, even if she didn't complain and said a few yin and yang, Xu Yanlin couldn't handle it. These are all problems that need to be faced, which are a great challenge for Xu Yanlin. I can't face this kind of test for her, right? No time, no interest. Most of the emotions are slowly weakened in the process of stumbling. It was useless for Li Yuan to try hard. All he could do was wait where he was. When it comes, continue. If you can't wait, you won't be tired. It's no different from cultivating immortals. If you get involved in the cause and effect, you might sink into it one day. While Lu Hao was fishing, Li Yuan looked at his account, and the number of fans and those who were free of charge increased. In just 1 week, the number of fans has exceeded 300,000. And what about your own account? Review the market every day and update your operations every day. Currently, there is no loss every day, and the total funds are already 170,000. There are only a pitiful 50,000 fans. Although the number is increasing day by day, a niche is a niche, and it is destined to be difficult to create an account with millions or even tens of millions of fans. But the quality of fans is relatively high. After all, Lu Hao's fans are just looking for fun, while his own fans are looking for faith. Maybe one day he will crook his mouth and shout out the phrase technology and hard work, and countless people will still follow him. Otherwise, he will not disclose the patent and see how you trade in stocks. After Xian Sheng, Luo Sheng, and Ma Sheng, he may become Li Sheng. After reading the account information, his attention returned to the disk again. The focus is on Tiankai shares. In fact, the matter is very simple. Tiankai shares have too many circulating shares, and Tianfu Capital wants to conduct mergers and acquisitions in the secondary market and is in the stage of collecting chips. There must be illegal transactions in it, such as letting someone buy it privately and then selling it to him at a certain price. When he holds more than 30%, he can issue an acquisition offer and finally negotiate with the board of directors of Tiankai shares. Either the shareholders of Tiankai shares will bleed a lot and take over what he holds, or he will negotiate with the shareholders of Tiankai shares at a price that everyone can accept and take over some of the shares from those major shareholders. In short, this is an operation involving tens of billions of funds, and it is not just Tianfu Capital's capital involved. It can only be said that Shen Tianfu is too ambitious. He is unwilling to accept that Tianfu Capital can only pick up some leftovers to eat. Get a big one. After all, Shen Tianfu is not a top genius, and there is no way to guarantee profits in such a fragmented market. Tianfu Capital has fallen into a quagmire. Nothing can be broken or established. If Tiankai's shares are acquired, Shen Tianfu will have greater room for maneuver. Tiankai shares have been rising steadily in the past 2 months. The market control is very serious and there are not many transactions every day. Even if Li Yuan has money, he may not be able to get it in. The most important thing is to guard against risks. If he fails to leave the market in time, is discovered by the board of directors, or if Shen Tianfu has collected enough chips, Tiankai shares will be suspended due to a major incident, and all funds will be locked up. Who knows when it will be resumed? Therefore, there must be more funds, the more, the better. If he only gets 1% of the shares, it may not be useful to Shen Tianfu, and he will not buy it at a premium. But if there are 4.99% shares, it is different. If Shen Tianfu doesn't accept it, he will directly join his competitor. He did not believe that Shen Tianfu could collect more than 50% of the stocks. It was almost impossible. Maybe he only has 30% at most, and the rest depends on wooing him, and eventually he gets enough voting rights to control the entire company. It is actually very difficult to start mergers and acquisitions from the secondary market. Even if 100% of the shares are tradable shares, if one person takes 30%, it will cause a market shock. Anyone who is not a pig can detect it. Li Yuan faced two difficulties. First, he obtained hundreds of millions of chips when the transaction volume was not high. The second is not to mess with Shen Tianfu's plan, otherwise no one will come to take over for him. Shen Tianfu and the others played very carefully, with daily transactions ranging from 80 million to 200 million. Li Yuan estimated that their daily investment capital should not exceed 20 million. Perhaps this layout had already started a few months ago. So patient. He already has a grasp on how to trade Tiankai shares. The next thing is the details. I opened my main account and it has been in Deutsche Transport for 6 trading days, 8 days. The floating profit is at 86%, and it will nearly double on the 7th board next Monday. This wave is purely lying, and the other thing is to let 13 Tebeo ship the goods in advance and let market funds come in to take on part of the pressure. Otherwise, you will be the one who gets stabbed when the time comes. The principle is also very simple, that is, if there are only 3 party funds in it, and the other 2 have the same goal, if they want to make money, they must join forces to make money. And when they introduced funds at a high level, they were reluctant to cut until they reached their psychological expectations. When they reached their psychological expectations, they found that there was no need to cut because the market was full of funds moving in. Who wants to become enemies when they can break up peacefully? Among them, Li Yuan took advantage of the mentality of retail investors who will not leave until they open the market. Most retail investors are greedy and feel that the future will be promising if they don't open the market. In fact, others have already changed hands on the board. Looking at the bill, there are still hundreds of millions, but in fact they are all fake. When the market opened, they poured funds into the market and retail investors began to follow suit. Then they withdraw their orders bit by bit and get back in line. In this way, retail investors' funds will be at the front of the queue. Once someone flows out, retail investors will be the first to take over. The banker spends almost no money. With his several hundred million closing funds, he has already brought in retail investors after only a few transactions. How can retail investors resist the temptation of a flat market every day? When you think you are lucky and the funds are traded, you have actually become a chess piece. When I want to cut you, it depends on when others are full. Only a small number of lucky people who can run fast can grab chestnuts from the fire and take a sip of soup while others eat meat. Most of them didn't drink the soup, and the beating was a complete failure. Thanks to think about what waste will do Kyoki Abayu Biabayu, it's too good, I think it should be me, the doll is so beautiful, for the tip. Thank you all for your monthly support. As for the person who rewarded the Silver Alliance is my friend, I won't thank him. I will arrange for him to go there in reality. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 84. Li Yuan has never had a retail investor mentality, because as a relevant practitioner, he has no chance to speculate in stocks. The data he received cannot be produced by retail investors, and the thinking behind the analysis is naturally an institutional stance. Institutions like to play games with others, whether it is other institutions or hot money or retail investors. Retail investors rarely have game thinking. They can analyze the stock clearly before buying it, but once they buy it, they are confused when they see the market trend. It can be said that the vast majority of investors lost their money in such a confused way that they did not know where they lost. News from Hojenkuo was sent. Little brother, please tell the boss that we have reduced our position by 160 million and strictly followed his instructions. Does the plan for next Monday and Tuesday remain unchanged? Li Yuan did not answer immediately, but waited for a few minutes. Then he replied, yes, just follow the previous plan. If there is any emergency, My friend will ask me to inform you. At least for now, the funds on the market have not changed. This move of his own can be regarded as insurance for himself and a boost to the funds inside. He sacrificed part of his profits in exchange for not being cut off. It's a win-win. Li Yuan felt very satisfied to be able to steal some of the benefits in such a rigorous process of tripartite calculations. As for his own funds, he must be greedy to the extreme. After taking a video of Lu Hao, Zhou Ranran was still at the driving school after returning home. So he started editing his own review videos. Reviewing videos is very simple. I already have a set of templates of my own, and it can be done in about half an hour. But today is going to be different from before. As soon as he posted the video, he registered a small account and posted his first comment in the comment area. The key point is that the funds of Sunio Technology bought by the Big Brother today have changed. According to my perspective of tracking the Big Brother's review for so long, the market price of Sunio Technology lasted more than one day. Let's go. In fact, he never mentioned a single word in the video recommending stocks to others. There is also a special logo on the left side of the video. It is just a personal idea and does not recommend anyone to follow suit. However, if he wants to take action against Tiankai shares, Li Yuan must take advantage of the situation. The vast majority of fans can't figure out how to operate it at all, and only a small number of people can get useful information from what he said. As long as you can find those things, making some money won't be a problem. He has more than 50,000 fans, and he has already begun to have a herd effect. I dare not say how many there are. 20 to 30 million funds is not a big problem. All that's missing is a leader. Since he hasn't been born yet, he puts on his vest. For the next period of time, he will specialize in continuous market movements. Even if the increase is only 3 or 5 points, it doesn't matter. The purpose is to bring up his own flock of sheep, and then go out with him to rush for a while. Just don't cut them, but it will bring a lot of traffic to yourself. After the funds in his small account reach 10 million, no real offer data will be updated. The policy on real-time short video streaming restriction will take another 4 years to be implemented, which is still early. He now has 3 to 5 points or 7 or 8 points every day, and occasionally hits the daily limit, but that's about it within 100 trading days. This was his initial thinking, but making money is very slow. Next year will be a life or death market, and it will be difficult to make money. When the structural bull market arrives in 2019, I am afraid that I will not be able to save even 30 million. So after meeting the 13 Taibao, he revised his original plan. Just when he was busy with everything and was about to drive to pick up Zhou Ranran, Xu Yanlin's WeChat message was sent. If it is sent, it means it is not sent. Because it was posted by Anna Shen. Li Yuan, give me back my video. Where is my girlfriend? What did you do to her? Why is her WeChat account in your hands? Anna Shen is different from Tong Sui. Although they are both green tea, Anna Shen never takes advantage of others, but her arrogant personality makes her often behave outrageously. Therefore, Li Yuan could only conflict with her verbally, but never took any actual actions. You return my video to me, and I will secretly hand the phone to Linlin. Anna Shen quickly replied. It seems that Xu Yanlin is restricted by her parents. Is this the complaint you made? Don't slander me. When did I file a complaint? Didn't you complain very well at that fishing base? I just want the video back. Then it's possible that you are deliberately complaining and threatening me with Linlin in order to get the video back. You. Are you speechless? Yes, is it me who filed the lawsuit? You return the video to me, and I will secretly stuff the phone into Linlin's room. Anna Shen was almost mad to death. When she came back, Xu Yanlin had already been scolded by her mother. The reason was that her mother happened to see Xu Yanlin when she got off Li Yuan's car. Then it was discovered that Xu Yanlin was in a relationship with an unknown person. She has never said a bad word in front of Xu Yanlin's parents. As a result, he was slandered by Li Yuan. Still can't explain it clearly. Fortunately, Linlin asked me to delete the video yesterday, just to protect your image as a cousin, but you betrayed her backhand. Are you vicious? Li Yuan. Let me say it again, it was not me who complained. But you just admitted it. I just wanted to get the video from you. Oh, you admitted it anyway. Or you just so arbitrarily judging that others have done something wrong? There is no evidence at all, and you don't listen to anyone's explanation, so you just insist that I did it. Yes, when Gu Dongsheng spread the rumor, didn't you insist that it was me? I've told you several times, right? Do you believe it? You are allowed to be arrogant, but others are not allowed to be arrogant? Is it a privilege of your upper castes to co-author this attribute? Then why don't you chase anyone else but my cousin? Miss Shen, you made a mistake. It was your cousin who chased me, not her. But I'm very happy with her, and I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage. You still want to be shameless. Has Ms. Shen started selling human organs now? I don't want it, thank you. You can go find those in need. After saying this, Li Yuan stopped replying. Xu Yanlin has now encountered the most difficult thing in love, killing her parents, and there will most likely be no chance to meet her in the future. It's a pity that the 36 martial arts and 72 special skills that I thought about were useless. It is said that people with simple minds are martial arts wizards. He drove the car and arrived at the entrance of the driving school. A few minutes later, Zhou Ranran walked out of it. But as soon as Zhou Ranran got in the car, she saw that Li Yuan was in a bad mood. What's wrong? Sister Ran, I am lovelorn and need comfort. As he spoke, Li Yuan reached out and hugged the co-pilot Zhou Ranran's shoulders. Zhou Ranran looked forward and said calmly, "That's great. There is one less girl in the world who has been harmed by you. Your merits are immeasurable." She has not forgotten the scene where Li Yuan put the pill into his mouth while kissing her while she was lying on the sofa yesterday afternoon. It's exactly the same as the medicine I took in the hotel last time. Soybean-sized particles, blue sugar coating. This bastard is so damned. It wasn't even over yet, and he couldn't wait to solve the trouble. No human being can do such an immoral thing. That kind of scene can be said to be something she will never forget for the rest of her life. She never thought that someone in the world could be such a scumbag. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been so angry that she directly bit Li Yuan on the shoulder. Not to mention that he would not look at her coldly all day long, and Lu Hao would be affected. She always felt that there was no one in the world who was worthy of her. But since this week's experience, she discovered that there is no species in the world that is worthy of Li Yuan. There is no other operation like feeding contraceptive pills while doing it in this world. Then, Sister Ran, can I pass on this merit to you tonight? Created a group, 8643896669. Gentlemen, come and play. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 85. When Zhou Ranran was editing the video, she did not see Xu Yanlin's figure or voice. She had seen that girl, she was very beautiful, very gentle, and lovely. Li Yuan is not worthy of such a girl. She was happy for Xu Yanlin that they were separated like this. After having dinner and taking a shower, Zhou Ranran was ready to work for a while and finish editing the remaining videos. Li Yuan came over and said, "Sister Ran, please lend me your card number." She found her bank card and handed it to Li Yuan. She probably knew what was going on. Li Yuan had a place to make extra money, and he got tens of millions. However, there may be some irregularities in the method, so I borrowed Lu Hao's bank card. Now Lu Hao doesn't dare to ask for it. By the way, Wen Yuxian asked you to sign a contract with her tomorrow. Well, she also sent me a message. If you want to negotiate a contract, let's negotiate it carefully. Don't harm this little girl. Zhou Ranran didn't think deeply about it, he just felt that Wen Yuxian seemed to have a lot of affection for Li Yuan, and this kind of affection could easily lead to trouble. Li Yuan waved his hand and said, I don't have a girlfriend anymore, can't I find another one? In fact, there are many girls who have confessed to me, and I am choosing a suitable one. Zhou Ranran frowned, let me see who is there. Okay, let Sister Ran check it for me. Li Yuan took out his mobile phone and started scrolling through WeChat. Here, this is my classmate, pretty, right? Well, it's quite beautiful. And this is my class teacher. What's wrong? Zhou Ranran took a deep breath and looked at the photo. She really didn't know what evil this beautiful woman had done. Fine. Oh, then I'll go back to sleep first. Sister Ran, you should also go to bed early. After Li Yuan finished speaking, he returned to the bedroom with a smile. About half an hour passed, and Li Yuan just turned off the lights. Someone pushed open his door and ran to him. The sound of breathing was clearly audible, and Li Yuan reached out and hugged the outline of the waist. Zhou Ranran's breathing was a little rapid. After being pulled to his side by Li Yuan, he gasped and said, don't chase them. Zhou Ranran is really not nosy, as long as the two girls look average, she will recognize them. But each one is prettier than the other. Is Li Yuan worthy of such a high-quality girl? It would be best for him to find someone with bad character, lots of faults, dark and ugly appearance. Oh, I won't chase you if I have Sister Ran. Li Yuan could feel that Zhou Ranran was becoming more and more harmonious when getting along with him. Whether it is daily life or vice versa, she has completely adapted to this life. As a literary master said, sleep more while you are young. Since you have the opportunity, why not? Should we wait until the future to benefit others? Or don't do it when you are 20 and wait until you are 30? That's the behavior of a prodigal. After waking up, he was about to get up when Zhou Ranran held him down and said, don't take it, it's not been 72 hours since the last one. Li Yuan. He just got up and dressed. What did Zhou Ranran think he was going to do? Oh, I almost forgot. Then I won't eat. I'll sleep for a while. Zhou Ranran could clearly feel relieved. Then Zhou Ranran whispered, that medicine is not good for your health, I was supposed to have my period yesterday. Well, I won't eat from now on. Sister Ran, take a good rest for a while. Li Yuan held Zhou Ranran's head in his arms. Why is your heart beating so fast? Ah. Well, I'm holding Sister Ran in my arms. If my heart doesn't beat faster, am I still a man? My heart beat faster than this last night, but you didn't feel it. Li Yuan found that Zhou Ranran didn't seem to be thinking in any other direction. What I gave her were citrus iced plum slices. Because her voice felt a little hoarse that day. In addition, she was too wary of herself at that time and was unwilling to go back. So I became a bad person for once. If he paid more attention to Zhou Ranran afterwards, she would probably start to think too much, and then wake up one morning and no longer see her. Now, it is difficult to check it out. Even if you go to the hospital, it will take at least another week or two. But by that time, there is no need to check. Even if her menstrual period is delayed, it is unlikely that it will be delayed for that long. His emotions slowly calmed down, because he had long thought that such a day would come, so he was mentally prepared. I just couldn't help myself. Sister Ran, you may be weak recently. Remember, no matter what you do, your range of motion should be smaller. How long will you need to rest? That medicine does a lot of damage to the body, and it will take at least a month or two to return to normal. After Li Yuan said this, he obviously felt that Zhou Ranran wanted to kill someone. She never thought the consequences would be so serious. Don't be angry, be calm, otherwise it will become more serious. I won't eat takeout anymore. I'll ask a cooking aunt to come over and cook for us. Eat healthy and make sure your body recovers as soon as possible. 9 in the morning. When Li Yuan sent Zhou Ranran to the driving school, he signed a contract with Wen Yuxian. Wen Yuxian is still dressed like a ghost because she still has to practice driving. But he had taken off his face towel and sun hat, revealing his delicate little face. I've seen it on video before, but it's still amazing in person. After all, most people use filters when watching videos, and they feel that they are definitely not as good looking as the videos themselves. Wen Yuxian is an exception. She looks as good as the video. The one with the best looks he met was Anna Shen, the one with the best figure was Zhou Ranran, and the one with the best overall temperament was Zhang Yuling. Even if Zhang Yuling is a little annoyed, he has to admit this fact. Wen Yuxian is somewhere in between the three, very balanced in all aspects. The reason why Xu Yanlin is not counted is because she already falls into the category of having a weird body shape. After all the seals fell, Wen Yuxian said with a smile, "Senior, you lied to me so miserably. That Jushin Media is obviously your own company." Li Yuan said shamelessly, "Junior, I'm just a legal person. It doesn't mean that the company belongs to me." "Oh, then I'll leave it to my senior for my future financial manuscripts." "No problem." Afterwards, Li Yuan sent Wen Yuxian into the driving school and drove away himself. It doesn't matter what Wen Yuxian's purpose is now. If she gets up, she will definitely be able to get her money back within the contract time limit. If you can't get up, you won't lose anything. It's only 2,000 yuan a month. At most, he would write a manuscript for Wen Yuxian for a month, and he would stop writing if he couldn't get up. As soon as he returned to his place of residence, Lu Hao asked, "Brother Yuan, can we leave now?" "Where to go?" "Going fishing? Didn't you say you would leave at 10 o'clock yesterday?" "I still have something to do." "Let's find another one." "Find one after 3 o'clock in the afternoon." Created a group, 8643896669. Leave an after-sales channel for paying readers to avoid scolding me for not being able to find anyone. If you are interested, you can come in. If you don't want to chat, just block the group messages. By the way, I can occasionally push for a draft. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 86. Anna Shen sat in Xu Yanlin's room and quietly gave her the phone. "I'll let you play for half an hour. Remember to return it to me, otherwise my aunt will come back later and I won't be able to deal with you then." Anna Shen actually didn't want to give it. But when I saw Xu Yanlin in the room, she could only watch TV, feeling depressed and a little bit intolerable. When Xu Yanlin saw her mobile phone, she immediately became happy and took it with both hands. "Thank you, cousin." As if I had found a treasure, I found WeChat and sent a message to Li Yuan. Anna Shen had deleted all the chat records between her and Li Yuan before. Seeing Xu Yanlin like this, Anna Shen said from the side, "Linlin, don't you think you are too young?" "Ah. No. Aren't I already 18 years old?" "But 18 years old is still a child. You don't have the ability to live independently now. You still need your parents' help." After sending a few messages, Xu Yanlin said, "Yes, but this doesn't prevent me from having my own life, right?" This sentence almost made Anna Shen helpless. She could only say, "Well, let me ask you, what is it about Li Yuan that attracts you? Don't you think it is very impulsive to fall in love after just meeting him a few times?" "Yeah, very impulsive. Since you know it was impulsive, you should calm down and think about the possibility of this matter. But I've been impulsive and never stopped. How can I calm down? Anna Shen said, how long has this been going on, why are you still impulsive? Xu Yanlin shook her head, I don't know either. I just look forward to talking, chatting, and meeting with him every day. Is it a problem to fall in love with a boy who has allowed me to be impulsive for so long? Anna Shen. It doesn't seem to make sense emotionally. Then we can only start from other aspects. So Anna Shen continued, Linlin, have you ever thought about a question, can Li Yuan bring you happiness? What is happiness? Xu Yanlin asked, tilting her head. Happiness means having everything you want. Can Li Yuan give you what you want? But there's nothing I want. I'm quite satisfied now. Anna Shen took a deep breath, you are still young now, and many things have not yet been needed. Take me as an example, a set of skincare products costs 20,000 yuan, which is a little less per year. Buying 4 sets costs 20,000 yuan. 80,000 yuan. Clothes, shoes, and bags are also the most basic things for a woman. Even if they are less, they cost more than 100,000 yuan a year. Not to mention a car, a house, and future child care funds. Do you think such a life is Li's? Can I give it to you far away? Before Xu Yanlin could speak, Anna Shen continued, you have been in love with him for so many days. Did he give you any gifts? Even if it is 300 to 500 yuan, it should be the most basic something. Cousin, what you said is what you want, I don't want those. You don't want anything, how can a man cherish you? Is there any connection between the two? The two are integrated. If a person is unwilling to pay for you, then he will abandon you at any time, because there is no cost or price for him to abandon you. As a girl, you are in a weak position when it comes to love. If you don't ask your man to give you something, what will you do if you are abandoned? Only the more a man pays for you, the greater the cost for him to abandon you, and this kind of thing will not happen easily. Xu Yanlin was stunned for a while and then said, giving sincerity is considered giving. Besides, as long as I am good, why would he abandon me? Do you need a reason to abandon a relationship? He can abandon someone because of novelty, or he can be forced to abandon him for some reasons. Do you think Li Yuan is qualified to resist fate based on his ability? Are you with her? You have to float up and down in the sea of fate with him, but he doesn't have the ability to protect you, and it's even difficult to protect yourself. Don't rush to refute, think about it carefully. You have to remember that you must be very cautious about love. If you make the wrong choice, you will spend your whole life regretting it. Even if you can look back, you will have already done it by then. Covered with bruises. Is that really the ending you want? I have seen many outstanding boys, and their shining points can be seen almost at a glance. But I haven't seen anything outstanding from Li Yuan so far. Xu Yanlin retorted, he is very good at shooting videos and editing. He created a Douyin account with his friend and already has hundreds of thousands of fans. He is not as useless as you said. How can it be considered an advantage to just find someone to learn something that they know how to do in half a month? How many internet celebrities and celebrities are just glamorous on the surface, but how many of them can really make a lot of money? As long as you starve to death, that's fine. Anna Shen was absolutely killed by this sentence. I no longer had the mood to continue talking. Half an hour is up. Cousin, it's only been 10 minutes. My aunt kept the mobile phone in my hand. When I said the time was up, it was up. But he hasn't replied to me yet. Xu Yanlin felt aggrieved. Look, he hasn't even replied to your message after such a long time. What does this mean? It means that you don't even have any status in his heart. When you are in a normal relationship, even if you don't reply to the message immediately, when you receive the message prompt, will also immediately wonder if it is from his girlfriend, he can't even do the most basic things, how did you agree to be his girlfriend? Xu Yanlin rubbed her hands in embarrassment and said with a smile, hey, it was me who confessed to him. Anna Shen. You're really good. Bring me the phone. After saying that, she grabbed the phone. This cousin is hopeless. Cousin, you have to tell me when he replies to the message. Give me the phone after my mother goes to work in the afternoon. You want beauty, but I won't give it to you. Oh, then you can paraphrase what he sent me. Anna Shen. Damn your love brain. When it was close to 12 o'clock, Li Yuan went to pick up Zhou Ran. After lunch, the recruitment information was posted on the job search website in the name of Jushin Media. Photographer, chef, finance, general manager. Jushin Media's shelf must be built. In this way, I won't have to follow Lu Hao in the future. Only then did he see the message sent by Xu Yanlin on his phone. The tone shown between the lines was definitely not something Anna Shen could utter. He quickly began to reply. After all, it looked like she worked hard to get the phone, and she immediately thought of herself. After replying a few words, I thought Xu Yanlin would not reply at this time, but she replied in seconds. Senior, where are you now? I sneaked out and wanted to see you. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 87. Li Yuan took a look at the time. Zhou Ran didn't have to go to the driving school for the time being. Lu Hao also chose after 3 o'clock, so he agreed. If Xu Yanlin could break free from the chains at home and run out, there would be no reason for her to miss her. Soon, he arrived at the meeting place agreed with Xu Yanlin. It was the place where he first met Anna Shen, the old-time cafe. Well, there was no surprise this time, I still saw Anna Shen. Li Yuan was not surprised. After all, he knew this would be the situation after choosing this place. Xu Yanlin would not choose a coffee shop to meet, she would prefer a milk tea shop or a food stall. But this time, Anna Shen didn't worry about face as much as the first time. Sitting directly opposite Li Yuan, watching Li Yuan drinking lemonade leisurely, he asked, Li Yuan, you are in a good mood. I wonder if Linlin has been very bad these past 2 days. Li Yuan put down the cup, it's not me who caused her bad situation. I can't have to pay for all the problems in the world, right? But she's your girlfriend. Which is more important, the girlfriend or the daughter? Of course I want my girlfriend to be well, but her parents don't want her to be well. What can I do? When did they treat their daughter badly? Didn't you say that yourself? Linlin has been unhappy these past 2 days. Is it not because of her parents or because of me? Anna Shen found that she could not defeat Li Yuan verbally. He obviously doesn't care, but he can package himself as an innocent person. Since you don't care, why do you want to fall in love with Xu Yanlin? I remember the last time we met here, you played the recording for me to listen to. Did you plan to make money from Linlin from that time on? Huh? How much money do you make? You don't have to pretend in front of me. Even if Linlin doesn't know how to fall in love with you now, she won't be able to be with you in the future. In this case, it's better to break up directly. I can give you some financial compensation, as long as you agree don't contact Linlin in the future. Li Yuan smiled and said, oh. As expected of the eldest lady of Tianfu capital, she speaks domineeringly. But this matter is not something I can decide. If you convince her to break up with me, you can save money, shouldn't you? You can't do it, right? You can't even convince an 18-year-old girl, so what confidence do you have to convince me? Anna Shen blushed a little. She really couldn't convince Xu Yanlin, otherwise why would she have spent so much effort? In this case, let's make a bet. As long as you don't reply to any messages she sends you in the next 2 months, after 2 months, as long as she is still willing, I will bring her to see you. Before Li Yuan could speak, she continued to add, if you break up by then, I can still give you some compensation. In this way, it will be a good thing for both of you. Since you don't care much about this relationship, then forget it. This is a test for Linlin. We can still be together after not talking to each other for 2 months. I believe that no matter what happens in the future, Linlin will not regret her current decision. I'm not interested. You can keep the money and spend it yourself. Li Yuan paid the money directly and left. He was not interested in making such a bet with Anna Shen. He really doesn't have any feelings for Xu Yanlin now, but there is no need to trample on her like this. By the way, Miss Shen, you are so free to worry about other people's hearts all the time. When you have time, you should first worry about whether you can get married in the future. Li Yuan walked to the door and suddenly turned his head and said something. Anna Shen clenched her fists in anger. At around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Anna Shen found Xu Yanlin. Linlin, I went to see Li Yuan in your name today. He has no sympathy for your current situation. After hearing this, Xu Yanlin was not surprised. Senior has no obligation to care about me. Aren't you boyfriend and girlfriend? But, I'm the one chasing him. If he agrees, I'm already very happy. Fortunately, Anna Shen didn't have a heart disease, otherwise the heart disease would relapse sooner or later after hearing such words. Co-author, Yu Xu Yanlin is so beautiful, has first-class temperament, and academic qualifications. Are you going to be a bitch for a guy who was dropped out of school? She decided that Xu Yanlin's disease must be cured. It will be too late if it is not treated. Linlin, I have one more thing to tell you. What's up? Li Yuan has unilaterally announced that he is breaking up with you. Impossible. Xu Yanlin immediately denied it. Based on her understanding of Li Yuan, she would not break up just because she only said a few words to him in 2 days. Otherwise, I didn't do anything wrong. Anna Shen said, I know you don't believe it, so I specially recorded the whole process. You should be able to hear Li Yuan's voice, right? Of course. But I still don't believe it. Anna Shen took out her mobile phone and clicked on a recording file. Then, a voice came from the phone. Li Yuan, you are in a good mood. I wonder if Linlin has been in a bad mood these past 2 days. She is bad and it was not caused by me. I can't have to pay for all the problems in the world, right? In this case, why not break up directly? I can give you some financial compensation. Oh? As expected of the eldest lady of Tianfu capital, she speaks domineeringly. You still have a choice. As long as you don't reply to any messages she sends you in the next 2 months, after 2 months, as long as she is still willing, I will bring her to see you. I'm not interested. I want the money. Anna Shen edited all the chat recordings with Li Yuan and finally pieced it together. There was even some additional recording of her voice. Xu Yanlin was stunned when she heard this. It was indeed Li Yuan's voice, unmistakable. Based on her knowledge of Li Yuan, how could Li Yuan be such a person? But she never doubted Anna Shen, because although Anna Shen was arrogant sometimes, she would never do anything deceptive. At the same time, Anna Shen returned Xu Yanlin's mobile phone to her. Said, if you don't believe it, you can send Li Yuan a WeChat message to see if he replies to you. But as usual, I only let you send for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the afternoon every day. I will give you my computer to play with. The only contact on your new account is Li Yuan. I will change the screen lock, put the phone next to you, and ensure that I will not secretly delete messages. As long as he replies to you, I will find a way to persuade my aunt to follow you. Uncle, let them stop interfering with your personal feelings. Although Xu Yanlin's mind went blank, she still mustered up the courage to take the phone. She wanted Li Yuan to tell him face to face. Open WeChat and find Li Yuan's profile picture. After entering, He immediately started sending messages. One by one, more than a dozen in a row. Thanks to book friend 20220830122228536 for the reward, and thank you all for your monthly votes. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 88. There is no doubt that every message sent by Xu Yanlin seems to have fallen into the sea without making a splash. The phone was placed next to her desk, and there was no sound notification of any incoming WeChat messages. However, she couldn't unlock it, so she had to wait for Anna Shen to come over and unlock it with her fingerprint every day before letting her use it. Day after day passed, from Sunday to Tuesday. She can guarantee that no one will delete the message records, because Anna Shen doesn't touch the phone at all, and the phone is always in front of her. But for 3 days, you didn't reply to a single WeChat message? All this seems to support the content of that recording. Her mood became increasingly depressed. The night before yesterday, she was confident that she would wait for Li Yuan's reply to prove that those recordings were fake or just a joke. But now it seems that the joke has become too big. Li Yuan and a girl were looking at the office they had just rented. The Jushin media sign has not been put up yet because this is just a temporary office space. The girl next to him looked very lively. "Junior, did you see Senior's ability? That's why you asked me to be the general manager." Li Yuan. "Isn't your salary the lowest? In Zhangzhou, if you can spend 4,000 yuan to recruit a graduate of Zhangzhou University's media major, you won't suffer any loss. Isn't the so-called general manager just a gimmick? Anyway, for some of the other applicants, regardless of their abilities, their starting salary is 20,000 yuan. Does he look like someone who has been taken advantage of? After all, he is responsible for the entire company. Even if there is a general manager, he is only responsible for signing additional anchors and self-media people. He will even give out the directions for signing the contract. What's the use of a general manager with a salary of 20,000 yuan a month? Maybe he will sign a bunch of rubbish contracts for himself and come back. It just so happens that there is someone with excellent professional knowledge and a low price. Why not sign it? They are all tool people, there is no difference. Song Jiajia is a girl with a round head and a lively and cute appearance. His personality is also quite straightforward. After only meeting him twice, he has already become very familiar with her. Li Yuan said, "Yes, how could I not have heard of my senior sister's name? In fact, I should have given my senior sister better treatment, but it's a pity that the company is a startup, and it doesn't have much money to begin with, so it is currently in the most difficult stage. When the company gets on the right track in the future and starts having profitable projects, I will definitely give my senior a salary increase." "When will it be profitable?" "Yeah, very soon. Profit is nothing, it's early. The early stage is to collect traffic and harvest enough traffic at the minimum cost. It has to be harvested after 3 years, right? After all, the competition at that time was too fierce, and if you didn't accept it, you would have to pay for it." Song Jiajia nodded and said, "Okay, I believe that if we work together, we will soon create an account with tens of millions of fans, an annual income of over 100 million, and reach the pinnacle of life." "Well, yes, yes. Junior, I know it's not easy for you to start a business. Otherwise, I won't get paid until the company makes a profit." "Ah. That's great. Do it for free?" Looking at Song Jiajia's height of nearly 1.7 meters, "What do you want to eat if you don't have to pay?" "Oh, big breasts. I must have good nutrition on weekdays. Hee, I saved up all the scholarships I received from college. I currently have enough to last for 3 months. Senior, isn't this not good? If your breasts are small, your baby will suffer from old age in the future. If you don't want it, then you don't want it. As a senior, you should encourage your juniors to start their own businesses. Well, that's settled. Oh, that's okay. From now on, this office will belong to senior sister, manager Song. Hey, what should I do next? Song Jia looked expectant and looked like she was ready for a big fight. Go shopping on various major platforms to find some potential internet celebrities, and then we can sign them. Can I sign anyone I want? Well, I'll just do a little review at the end. Song Jia suddenly felt that this position was no longer favorable. Co-authoring is just a cool job. Recalling what Li Yuan just said just now, Junior, you won't watch me starve to death, right? Huh? Yes. Li Yuan has already transferred 500,000 yuan to the company's account, which was given by Ho Zhenqiu and others after clearing their positions today. 13pix floating profit of 156 million was eventually transferred to Zhou Ranran's bank card at a ratio of 40%. With this money, they had already cashed out the stocks they had previously reduced their positions in. After getting the final data today, I turned it over immediately. Li Yuan's own account did not continue to be greedy, and all positions were cleared in the early trading. At present, Zhoshan Media has a total of 4 people. There is 1 general manager, 1 financial officer, and 1 photographer each. Neither Lu Hao nor Wen Yuxian are considered employees of the company, they are just partners. And the cooking ant he took the opportunity to find had already arrived yesterday. Cook 2 meals a day and clean up as well. After explaining what happened here, Li Yuan took the photographer and called Lu Hao, and the 3 of them went to shoot a video together. The photographer's salary is very high. Li Yuan originally proposed to him that the basic salary plus 5% of the dividend from the photography account could be added, but unfortunately he did not agree. In the end, Li Yuan offered a salary of 10,000 yuan, which was slightly higher than the market price by 10%. Otherwise, it would be really difficult for a small company like Zhoshan Media to recruit people. The photographer quickly understood Li Yuan's shooting techniques. When Li Yuan waited until the finished film came out that day, he knew he could get away. After all this work, Tuesday is over. He failed to reply to Ho Zhenqiu's message. At this moment, he discovered that Xu Yanlin's chat box had come to the front. Obviously no message was received. He opened it and saw that Xu Yanlin had not sent a message. The last one was sent by herself, but unfortunately a red exclamation mark appeared. Well, I posted it the night before yesterday. Above the dialog box, the words "the other party is typing" are always displayed. After waiting for about a minute, Xu Yanlin's message was sent. Senior, I'm sorry, I just found out that they used an avatar that is exactly the same as yours and the account number is almost the same to deceive me. No need to be sorry, I didn't send you any messages these days. No, I'm sorry. I was too careless and didn't notice. The time they forged in the chat records was wrong, and I didn't notice it for 3 days. Xu Yanlin kept sending messages to a fake account and never got a reply. That account even had specially forged chat records, but you couldn't tell if you didn't look carefully. Yeah, it's okay. Li Yuan's reply is quite effective. He believed what Xu Yanlin said, that Anna Shen could do such a thing, and Xu Yanlin's parents could also do such a thing. Then senior, you didn't break up with me, right? Not before, let's break up today. Why? Because you are not suitable for falling in love. You are still young and do not have a clear grasp of your own life. You can't even grasp yourself, how can you grasp me? Study hard and you will still have the chance to fall in love in the future. A lot of. But I don't want to break up. Let's break up and calm down. Be obedient. It's time for me to get busy. Senior, can I ask you one last question? What is the problem? When you met with my cousin that day, did you take any money from her? Wait. Li Yuan browsed for a while and pulled out the complete recording of that day from his mobile phone. Then sent it to Xu Yanlin. Take it or leave it, you can listen to it yourself. I won't delete you as a friend. I will reply when I have time in the future. Xu Yanlin hadn't typed out yet, but after seeing Li Yuan's message, she deleted it bit by bit. She was listening to the recording. There are problems starting from the first two sentences, and the following ones are even more outrageous. The recording played by Anna Shen has completely different meanings. And at this moment, Anna Shen came in with fruit. Linlin, come and eat some fruit. Your phone has timed out for 3 minutes. I haven't replied to you for so many days. Why don't you give up? Xu Yanlin nodded numbly, well, I have given up. I have deleted his friends and will not contact him in the future. Anna Shen suddenly became excited. This cousin finally made a decision. It's not in vain that she and her aunt arranged so many arrangements. That's good. It's time to fill in your application soon. When you go to university, you can meet many outstanding boys. With your conditions, you can definitely choose anyone you want. But have you decided which school you want to go to? Tsinghua University or Peking University? Anna Shen came to Xu Yanlin, picked up a piece of fruit and brought it to her mouth. Xu Yanlin took the fork and took a bite. But it feels tasteless. Well, I have already made a decision. I will fill it out later. I will definitely satisfy you. The first 3 chapters have too few words, only 6,000. So add another chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 89. Wednesday. After Li Yuan sent Zhou Ranran to the driving school, he returned to his residence. At this time, he once again returned to the 13 Taibao group. When he was added last night, everyone in the group distributed red envelopes for half an hour, and his hands were sore after receiving them. Boss, the market is about to open. You can tell us how to operate today. We promise to obey your orders. Until this time, the 13 Taibao didn't have any wariness about Li Yuan. After all, one loss can cost hundreds of millions in profits. Li Yuan typed and said, this trading is different from before. We don't pursue profits, only the number of shares held. Boss, what do you mean? Li Yuan replied, the number of shares held is money. How much capital do you have in hand? Let me tell you first. Ho Zhenkuo had already prepared these data and immediately said, currently, there are 500 million in cash and 100 million in leveraged funds. If the boss needs it, he can get at least another 400 million in leveraged funds, a full billion. Li Yuan did the math. I had made 8 losses in Deutsche Transportation before, with an increase of 114% and a total capital of 75 million. Later, the 13 Taibao transferred another 62 million to Zhou Ranran. That adds up to 137 million. Although only more than 40 million is truly his own, all the money he earns in the next round belongs to him. Clean and tidy. Let's use 600 million funds for the time being. It's almost enough. Don't worry in the early stage. Buy Tiankai shares in batches of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Don't buy too much. The total number of the group should not exceed 20 million. Try your best. The main thing is to buy low. Wait until 2:30 in the afternoon and I will tell you how to continue. After Li Yuan finished speaking, he didn't move. He has a task today, which is to launch Zhongchen Electronics. 17 consecutive games will be played today. It hit the lowest limit and didn't go up all day. But starting from tomorrow, the market will be extremely strong again. All he has to do is absorb 30 million chips near the limit without being discovered by others. This is a very complicated operation. If 30 million yuan is thrown in at once, the capital logic of this new stock with only 1 billion yuan in circulation will change, and the butterfly effect will inevitably occur. After Zhongchen Electronics opened the market, it quickly reached the limit. He started making frequent purchases of hundreds of thousands, and in just half an hour, he bought 12 million. This is the most chaotic stage for chips on the market, so you can rush for chips as long as no big orders appear and no one notices them. The scramble for funds for large orders is still very obvious. It doesn't matter once or twice, but 5, 6 or even a dozen times, the funds inside will definitely notice it. Li Yuan used the most conservative method and did not take action if it exceeded 1 million. It's just that it's a bit troublesome to open positions frequently. At the same time, he was also paying attention to the movements of big funds inside. Judging by simply looking at large transactions may not be accurate. There may be a group of retail investors gathering in some positions, and the transactions may be thousands of lots. You have to combine the market trends and then figure out the intentions of the big funds, so you can know how much chips the big funds have taken away. If you know the opponent's bargaining chip, you can probably analyze the opponent's profit points and increase the room for improvement. Today, Zhongchen Electronics is cleaning up retail investors. Those who entered the market through the new market took 17 boards. At the moment when the board was opened, they all chose to sell without much hesitation. Some were sold along the way, but not many. And the big money traders here don't dare to open the market at the position of 5 consecutive boards or 7 consecutive boards because it is too low. A lot of risk-taking funds will look for new stocks on the 5 continuous board and the 7 continuous board to invest in them. However, almost no risk capital dares to invest in stocks on the 17th consecutive board. Even if you pay attention, you will wait for 2 or 3 drops before considering it. Whoever rushes will die. So today there is almost no money that dares to rush into it, and all the new retail investors are buying. There are 2 to 3 billion in funds. Li Yuan spent the whole morning and ate up 28 million chips. The stock price fluctuated around 8 points underwater, as if the main force was shipping. In fact, there are very few chips on the market, and they are more like bait for the big funds inside. Li Yuan still had 2 million left to go in, so he had to wait for lunch. The capital for one level is only 30,000 to 50,000, and if you buy 2 million at a time, you can pull 60 or 70 levels in a row. It was a little rough in the afternoon. It's better to pick someone up now. 10 minutes later, he arrived at the entrance of the driving school. Zhou Ranran also happened to come out. After sitting in the passenger seat, Zhou Ranran said nothing. Ever since her card suddenly gained more than 60 million yuan yesterday, she didn't know what to say. She didn't know how Li Yuan earned more than 60 million. If you include the previous more than 20 million, it would be more than 80 million in 3 weeks. It's not that fast to grab. Today, she finally plucked up the courage and said, "This much money is enough to buy my life. If you pay more, I won't be able to help you much. Just stop." "Well, stop it." Hearing this, Zhou Ranran felt relieved. The car drove home. The cooking aunt has already prepared the food. She lives in this community, so she doesn't stay here to eat. After dinner, Lu Hao went out to shoot. Basically, he had to go every day, because his account has entered an explosive period, 1 video a day, and there are not many videos in stock. Zhou Ranran sat next to Li Yuan and watched him trading. "I can't understand it, but it feels strangely powerful. Just by looking at it, you can tell it's not serious business. Who is a serious person who trades in stocks?" At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Li Yuan transferred all 30 million into Zhongchen Electronics. Then it started to go all out, spending millions and millions to buy Tiankai shares. The stock price of Tiankai shares was abnormal. Ho Jianqiu in the group asked several times and even sent private messages. After all, Li Yuan made such a big move, and many funds were unable to react. The pressure was very small, and the stock price was raised by 3 or 4 points in a short period of time. Li Yuan's reply was, "Wait a moment. All his funds haven't been put in yet, what the hell?" On the one hand, his funds can be used to try to remove part of the pressure plate, and the resistance to closing the plate will be much smaller later. On the other hand, Mr. Li must make more money. After this time, there will be no chance, unless you catch a stock, rush in and hum the people inside, take the money if you win, and take off your pants if you lose. The risk is too great. If you enter the market blindly, you won't have such good luck, and you won't encounter tickets like Deutsche Transport again. He can fight, but he can't fight with his own money. And he didn't want to make risky money. The more wool he gathered from 13 Taibao, the more likely it would be that something would happen in the future. If you stop in time, there's a good chance that nothing will happen. At 2:30, he frantically invested all his 170 million, turning the entire Tiankai shares upside down. There were a lot of funds above trying to suppress him. Then he invested more than 200,000 yuan in his own trumpet. As soon as 2:30 arrived, 13 PIC started to ignite the fire directly. With only 100 million, Tiankai shares were closed. Then I took over some chips on the board, which totaled only 20 to 30 million. After the market closed, the group became lively. "Boss, we only have a total of 150 million in funds. Why is it blocked now? With more than 10 billion tickets, can it be blocked so easily?" They thought they were going to throw 500 million into it. "The rest will wait for tomorrow. Don't rush to enter the market when the market opens tomorrow. Let them smash it for a while. Remember, we need the number of shares we hold. The more the better. For the funds from 13 PIC, only the number of shares held is enough. But he is definitely different, both in terms of making money and the number of shares he holds. Zhou Ranran usually goes to the driving school at 2:30, but he didn't arrive until 3:20 today. But it can be considered as avoiding the hottest half hour. After Li Yuan came back, he immediately made today's real offer video, analyzed the market, and finally posted the operation record of his small accounts entry into Tiankai shares today. After the video was posted, his trumpet immediately took the lead in the comment area. From last week to this week, his trumpet could accurately analyze the meaning of the video every time after seeing it. At first, no one followed suit, but later the predictions became more and more accurate, and small funds began to pour in. Follow the trend. Then, those people made money. Now there are 3,000 people following his trumpet. After the video is released every day, many fans immediately go to the comment area to read the account's summary. Some of them don't even know what the video is about. Fortunately, he was able to finish the video while scrolling through the comments, otherwise his completion rate would have been lower by several points. Just exceeded 100,000 followers today. After throwing the bait for almost 2 weeks, it started to take effect. Thursday. The trading room of Tianfu Capital. Shen Tianfu was quietly waiting for the opening. The changes in Tiankai shares yesterday confused everyone. How could such a low-key stock be taken a fancy to? Moreover, the other party's funds are very consistent, and they should be a group of people or a big boss. Could it be that their plan to acquire Tiankai shares was leaked? This is impossible. These are all matters related to personal interests. Who would do anything wrong? Yesterday, he didn't take any action. It was the major shareholder of Tiankai shares who spent almost 100 million. But today, he had to take over. The stock price of Tiankai shares cannot be allowed to continue to rise, otherwise his funds will not be able to bear it. As soon as the market opened, he spent 20 million. It directly hit Tiankai shares to 5 points underwater. The 20 million is just a test to see what the other party is like. Subsequently, he has been selling chips non-stop, selling hundreds of thousands, 1 or 2 million, in order to prevent the stock price from rising. However, until all the 50 million he prepared was spent, he didn't see any movement from the other party. The funds on the market seemed to have reached a tacit agreement, which was strange and terrifying. I entered the market with so much money yesterday, but there is no movement at this position today. That's a lot of money to make. But it is strange to say that without big funds to undertake it, the 50 million he spent disappeared inexplicably. And after he didn't smash it, although the transactions were all small, the stock price rose very quickly. He really had never seen this weird trend. Boss, Tiankai shares are the most popular. A trader said something. Then, Shen Tianfu felt as if his brain had been struck by lightning, and he was disciplined on the spot. Number 1 in popularity? How many people are here? The problem is that Tiankai shares reached the daily limit yesterday, and the Dragon and Tiger list was not triggered. Why are so many people paying attention to Tiankai shares? Go and check. What's going on? Did some bad analyst recommend Tiankai shares? They posted it upside down, and I'm actually not satisfied with it. Author, Lao He. Chapter 90. The stock market is almost the same as real life. The news you see in real life may not be true, and the data obtained in the stock market may not be true either. Scams can be found everywhere in life, and they are the same in the stock market. Shen Tianfu could not think of any reason that could attract such great popularity to Tiankai shares. The stock popularity rankings of major websites are ranked based on the number of followers on that day. Those stocks with high popularity basically receive hundreds of thousands or even millions of attention every day. All the investors who hold positions in Tiankai shares together are only over 40,000 people, and those who keep an eye on the market every day are probably not even 10,000 people. Even if the recent stock market conditions are average and the popularity of the shares has dropped from millions to hundreds of thousands, Xiao Tiankai's shares are not something that can be touched, right? So something must have happened behind the scenes that I don't know about. Li Yuan was also shocked when he saw the situation on the board. At present, 100 million funds have changed hands. Not only has it been taken over, but there is also a steady stream of funds rushing into it. And it can be seen from the popularity rankings of major software that those who rush in are retail investors. A stock with little exposure suddenly becomes so popular that even big funds can't do anything about it. He found Ling Linky's WeChat account and asked, "Are there any fans copying homework?" He knew there must be. After all, he was the one who led the expansion. I just didn't expect there to be so many. There are only 100,000 fans in total. Although the number of views is more than 300,000 every day, it is not that exaggerated. It's impossible for everyone to follow suit, right? Ling Linky, isn't it that the big boss is giving benefits to our fans? Everyone in Lao Wang's group has said that at least the third board has started. Who is Lao Wang? Ling Chi, I am also a fan of the big boss, and they have relatively large funds. There are more than 200 people, and the funds are almost close to 1 billion. He thought he needed to create some herd effect, but ended up attracting wolves. How dare they go with a small blogger with 100,000 followers when they have so much money? 200 people, with over 1 billion in capital, then an average of 5 million per person? Those who can spend 5 million to speculate in stocks are unlikely to be ordinary people. Ling Chi, they have dedicated people to analyze the big guy's videos every day. During this time, I was impressed by the big guy's thinking and made a lot of money in it. Originally my funds were not enough to join the group. However, because I am the chief helmsman of Shenmen, they let me in. What is the Divine Gate? Ling Chi, it's the title of the Big Brother's fan group. Haha, You guys are really good at playing. Li Yuan has not been in contact with other fans, and all private messages are now closed. I didn't expect it to be so large in private. He thought that not many people could understand the things he reviewed. But I didn't expect that those who understood it would actually share it. If you can't understand classical Chinese, there are many people who can understand the annotations. Lingling Qi, boss, do you want to join Lao Wang's group? They all want to talk to you. No, but since this matter was caused by you, you have to be responsible for the finishing work. I guarantee the third board. You will be responsible for the problems after the third board. Li Yuan just took the opportunity to leave this matter to them. I was originally planning to use my own trumpet to start hinting on Friday. But he didn't expect that the wolf pack was so large that he couldn't lead it with just one person. This time there was an element of mutual use, so Li Yuan also had to bear part of the responsibility. 3 boards is his limit. Even if 1 billion of the Lao Wang Group's funds were poured into it, it would be impossible to win 3 consecutive board games. Tiankai shares have too many circulating shares, and even the second board may not be able to seal them today. Those shareholders and some institutions will definitely smash the market. This is also the result he wants. As long as those shareholders and institutions that have been immovable for 10,000 years throw out their chips, he can collect enough chips. As for the cost, it doesn't matter, someone will pay for his position anyway. He turned around and sent a message to the 13 Taibao group. We are not in a hurry to take action today. We have funds to help us. When the price limit is about to reach the limit, we can forcefully close the market. The group quickly asked, boss, wouldn't our cost be higher? Now that the board is closed, we have enough funds. It's far from it. A few 100 million won't be enough to seal the board. Someone will definitely smash it later. Boss, how do we make money? Don't make any money on the market. Hearing these words, the 13 Taibao was confused again. If you don't make any money from stock trading, where will you make the money? But this time, they did not form a small group, nor did they think of escaping. After all, there are lessons learned from the past. Li Yuan didn't care, the effect was better than before anyway. The funds on 13 Pacific Insurance's side should be able to last until the board is closed tomorrow. Even if the board is only closed for a while. Today he finally realized that the energy of his fans was much stronger than he imagined. He has 2 paths to take next. Either go for a private placement, attract the fans' money, add your own and 13 Taibaos, and you can make up 2 to 3 billion, which is comparable to medium-sized hot money. With this money, as long as you seize 2 or 3 opportunities in the past 2 years, it is possible to double it. He can't guarantee that he will make exaggerated profits. With a capital of 2 to 3 billion, he can still make 40 to 50 points a year with confidence. Although the management fee of private equity is not necessarily high, it may even be none. But the dividends are high. Even if he talks about 20%, it is possible. Earn 2 to 3 billion a year. When the market booms in 2 years, it will not be a problem to earn a net worth of 2 billion for myself. This is the ceiling. But he didn't really want to take this route. Private equity investors will be coerced by big bosses and reduced to just a wage earner. Although he can become an awesome wage earner, even big bosses will be friendly with him. But those are all false, based on the fact that he can make money for others. And it's hard to have a happy ending. Look at Shen Tianfu, how anxious he is now. The pressure on him in the past 2 years has been considerable. If he can't achieve any results, the market situation next year will make him despair. If private equity loses money, the big financier behind it is really good at sinking into the Huangpu River. This is no joke. Private equity managers disappear inexplicably every year. Seeing that Zhongchen Electronics was directly criticized today, he became more and more confident. The market will be bad next year, but it doesn't seem to be a bad thing for him. At the end of the day, 13PIC used funds to seal the board, and this time it used a full 200 million. The transaction volume of TNK shares that day reached 700 million. It is also the highest transaction volume in the past 2 years. All the funds in it began to be confused at this moment. As more and more information was collected, everyone focused their attention on an account called Voyage by Stock. Then, it seemed like a door to a new world had been opened. They didn't look at this guy's trading prowess, because they only had a total of $10,000 or $200,000, so it was useless to look at it. But the review thinking is really awesome. It's very simple, but it gets to the point every time. Many private equity firms try to contact the owner of this account, and Tianfu Capital is no exception. Shen Tianfu watched all of Li Yuan's videos over and over again, unaware of them until late at night. The game thinking involved in it shocked him greatly. It was hard to imagine that this was something that a small retail investor with only a few $100,000 could see. He thought it was normal to say that he was manipulating 10 billion behind his back. If we can invite people like this to the company, why worry about making it bigger and stronger? Moreover, this guy's appeal is also terrifyingly strong. It seems that many people have learned something from his videos. Simply copying homework is not enough. After all, he only posts videos after the market closes every day, and most of them do ultra short-term trading, and rarely hold positions for more than 2 days. In other words, the stocks I selected recently have been held for a little longer. At first he thought it was not a good thing. But when he figured out that today's market situation was purely due to the will of retail investors, he realized that this was his biggest opportunity. If there is an impact from retail investors, the entire market will become particularly chaotic. This is also the best time to grab chips yourself, and you will definitely not be targeted. I worked carefully for a few months before, but I'm afraid it's not as good as a day or two now. The most important point is that this incident has flushed out the chips that were not good for him. Originally, the joint institutions of TNK shares held 35%, and I only had 20%. But now those institutions have left the market at a high level in order to suppress the stock price, and I am afraid that I will only have 30%, or even 25%, left, and I spent 50 million here to test the water, and I can get it back at any time. Retail investors have no use for chips, so sooner or later they have to sell. Just pick it up yourself. Even if it rises by 20 or 30 points, it is completely acceptable to him. At the last trembling, he was willing to accept the offer at double the price. Moreover, the other party is just a group of retail investors. No matter how much funds they have, they cannot push for the third or fourth board. It is basically certain that he can take over hundreds of millions of chips at normal prices. It's Friday soon. Shen Tianfu only slept for 4 hours at night and came to the company early. As long as today goes well, we can directly have a showdown with TNK shares. How much money do you have now? Before the market opened, Li Yuan asked the 13 Taibao as usual. There are more than 200 million left. Ho Zhenqiu replied. I'm afraid more than 200 million is not enough. Let's raise another 400 million. We will directly accept it from the board today. We will take whatever we can get. The original shareholders of TNK shares were unwilling to take over the position of the 3-link board. He didn't know whether Shen Tianfu would answer or not. Anyway, he would eat it first before deciding. He also wanted to raise funds at the beginning, but the retail investors were too strong. If he raised funds again, he would be the one who suffered. More than 100 million funds are just enough to make arbitrage from it. After the market opened, he directly sold out the 140 million positions in his account. In just 3 days, he made a profit of 34 million, and his total position in TNK shares was just over 140 million. At the same time, I started to contact brokers for financing. At this time, you can melt more. Excluding the previous 12 million, this time the brokerage gave another 100 million. The contract was signed half an hour later, and the funds arrived at 10:30. The main reason is that he has no social status. If he is a famous person, the brokerage companies will not even look at it and will easily dump you 500 million or 1 billion. At this time, Tiankai shares were still closed. The transaction volume has exceeded 600 million. The funds for sealing the board were eaten up bit by bit, almost all of which were 13 Tabeo's money. I only have a small amount of funds to follow the trend and want to get a share of the pie. Watching the building collapse. Watching the last block of funds being eaten up. It's open. The few remaining retail investors gave up their last thoughts and smashed the chips in their hands wildly. The commitment from below is very weak, because after such a move, the funds inside will not be easily disposed of. In fact, those with a more sensitive sense of smell will definitely be able to detect that there is a problem on the market, and someone must have accumulated a large amount of chips, otherwise they would not have experienced such an extreme market situation. However, being hit too hard by retail investors caused problems with the sense of funds inside, leading to misjudgments. Li Yuan did not eat the last copper coin, but spent his 240 million yuan to start taking over the project when he was 5 points underwater. His action was equivalent to a signal. Other funds have also begun to take action, waiting for the limit to fall. The market was stable, as if the stock had been stricken. Everyone took over from Li Yuan's position and would never move up a penny. The 5% position is Tiankai's daily limit today. All funds have been extremely patient. Li Yuan didn't play with them. He would eat part of them every once in a while. 240 million were filled in quickly. There was a cry among the 13 Tabeo group. Boss, we have taken over 600 million yuan at a high level. The current account loss has reached 100 million yuan. What should we do next? It's okay. If we lose another 100 million, the situation will be almost the same. Everyone, go and prepare the authorization letter. Give it all to me in the next few days. I will be responsible for the rest. I will not let you lose money. Authorization letter? What is the authorization? You are now shareholders of Tiankai shares. Of course you must exercise your rights. If you don't know how to do it, ask the brokerage and ask them to get you a template, print it out, and authorize it to my little brother. 13PIC currently has a capital of 1 billion, and the number of shares it holds accounts for 6.49% of the total share capital of Tiankai. The cost on our side is lower, with 240 million accounting for 1.8% of Tiankai's total share capital. Well, it's against the rules. Because theoretically, he and the 13 Tabeo are acting in concert. However, Shen Tianfu wanted to acquire Tiankai shares, and he had already violated the rules. Otherwise, if you give him another 20 billion, he will not be able to acquire a listed company in the secondary market. He hasn't raised his sign yet. If Li Yuan wants to avoid it, it is actually very simple. He only needs to remove a few authorization letters and reduce the total authorization scale of the authorization letters to 4.99%. After this is done, go get a certificate. He has never had a practitioner certificate, which is actually to avoid risks. The 13th Tabeo really wanted to betray him and found out that he had no certificate at all. What could they do to him? If practitioners recommend stocks and charge a fee, then once reported, they will really have to squat. Not to mention that he had 2 layers of shells, which had no effect on him. Before 11:30 in the morning, all his work for the day was finished. Driving to the entrance of the driving school and waiting for Zhou Ran, I suddenly discovered that I had gained more than 80,000 followers in one day. This further strengthened his confidence in doing public fundraising.